Welcome to eHealth Learning, inspiring professionals worldwide.
Okay, so a very warm welcome to everybody, and also to Anne Diamond Weinstein, who's talking to us from Long Island, New York. And Anne has written this really, really fantastic book on prenatal development and parents' lived experiences. And she also very kindly contributed a chapter along with Michael Shea, who did the foreword for this book, to my book, which is coming out as well. So it's a really wonderful book, and Anne's going to be talking about the book, and also I'll be asking her questions in relation to it as well. So Anne's has a doctorate in prenatal and perinatal psychology, and she provides education and coaching to mental health and health professionals on the relationship between prenatal and early postnatal development and experience, and the effect on the health, behavior, and relationships over their lifespan. So over to you, Anne, and perhaps we could just start with a question really about what inspired you to write this book, because I know there's not much money in writing books, is there? And I know that one has to be certainly inspired to write something as detailed as this, and whether that was from your own personal experience or experience working with clients. I'm just wondering what inspired you.
Well, thank you for having me, John, and it's great to be here, and I really appreciate everybody who is listening. Thank you. Well, how this came about was sort of a bunch of life experiences that sort of led me here. I was an early childhood teacher of children with learning disabilities, and I became very curious about what happened in their lives before I came to see them, which was when they were kindergarten age, 5, 6 years old, some of them. And I started thinking back to there has to be more than what I'm seeing. There has to be experience and development that had happened earlier that might have resulted in some of the things I was seeing in these children when I was working with them. And then I became pregnant with my first child, and of course that threw me into very deep research. I'm a person who likes to read and investigate, and so I started learning much more. And that really opened my eyes to the importance of that period. Although that was 38 years ago when I was pregnant. So a lot has happened since then, a lot of knowledge and research has surfaced since then. And through the experience of being pregnant and giving birth to my daughter, I really came to understand that there were so many different types of experiences that my peers were having in terms of the experience of pregnancy, the experience of birth, the experience of early parenting. And that led me to become a childbirth educator. And so along this line, I learned more and more. And then realized also that I was seeing women who had had experiences of trauma before the childbearing years and during childbirth and in the early postnatal periods. And I became even more curious about how that influenced their experiences and their parenting. So that led me on a path to seeking out more education. And I pursued a doctorate in prenatal and perinatal psychology at the Santa Barbara Graduate Institute, which sadly no longer exists. But for the time it was open, and it provided training in master's and doctoral level education in the field specifically of prenatal and perinatal psychology. And it was an amazing, wonderful, eye-opening experience, both personally and professionally. So that experience and my doctoral dissertation, which I wrote after that, I came out of it all and I said, oh, I have a lot to say about this. And I had been synthesizing and putting together various types of research and knowledge from many fields to inform my understanding of all of this. And so I decided to write a book and was very fortunate that the Norton Interpersonal Neurobiology series accepted my proposal. And there you have it. So that it's kind of a bit of a long road, but sorry.
How long did it actually take you to write it?
Well, it took me 9 months to write the proposal, which is kind of an interesting amount of time given the topic. And
Yeah.
then it took me between 18 months and 2 years to write the book, which, isn't too bad. given, yeah, given the magnitude of this project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you've got a few slides. Do you want to start with the first
Yeah.
one to see how we go? And I'll
Yeah.
ask you some questions as we go through.
Sure. Well, there's a picture of the book, and in case if you notice the slide, the picture in the upper left corner actually is a blastocyst, and one of the favorite things I have about this picture, one of the things that I've always been drawn to is the Zona Pellucida, which is the membrane around the blastocyst, which you can kind of see here. You can see it better if it's bigger. And so I've included that on my slide because I find it grounding. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Just so you know that the subtitle of the book, which is hard to see a little here, is How Early Events Shape Our Psychophysiology and Relationships, which I think provides more explanation. The title is kind of long and awkward, but if you think about it, it's actually pretty specific about what's included. So here we go.